Breeding guppies in your aquarium is very easy and I'm sure you can do it. I've been doing it for years. But you do need to prepare and make sure you know what you're doing in order for it to work out. So in this video I'm going to go over what setup you need. You don't need a tank as large as this one, trust me. I'm going to tell you what to feed your guppies. I'm going to tell you how to take care of the fry. And finally I'm going to give you some tips to make sure you won't fail. Let's talk about the setup first. You don't need a tank as large as this. Guppies can be kept and bred in tanks as small as this one, which is about 20 liters or 5 gallons. Next to the aquarium itself, you're going to need a filter and a heater that can maintain the size of the tank. So if you have a small tank, you only need a small filter and heater. If you've got a large tank, you're going to need a larger filter and heater. Lighting is optional because lighting is only for plant growth and for us to see your fish, so it's not necessary for breeding, but I would recommend lighting so you can see your fish. When you buy your first couple of fish you want to start breeding with, make sure you get 1 male for every 3 females. So get your first fish in a 1:3 male to female ratio. And the reason for this is because the male guppies are going to show a lot of interest in the female guppies. And if you have more male than female fish, or even the same amount of female to male fish, then the females are going to experience a lot of stress, and that's not something you want because that lowers their immune system. They can catch diseases and potentially even die. So make sure you get them in the right male to female ratio. Then for tank decoration, make sure you provide a lot of hiding spots. The best thing you can add to your aquarium if you want to breed guppies is a lot of Java moss or any other moss. From my experience, they also like floating plants or plants that reach for the surface, because when a female guppy gives birth, the baby fish are going to be swimming at the top of your aquarium, so they want protection there. Next, it's very important that you think about what other fish are in your aquarium, because this is a community tank. It also contains guppies, but the only reason that the baby guppies survive is because I don't have any fast, aggressive or predatory fish in this aquarium. So if you've got larger fish like angelfish or gouramis, then those fish are going to basically eat the baby guppies. So let's move to the next point. What are you going to feed your guppies? From experience, I know that it doesn't really matter what you feed your guppies. I've got guppy flakes, so basically dried food, that works fine, but I've had more success when I fed them a lot of live foods or protein-rich foods like frozen food. Anything that they can eat that contains more protein will make sure they give birth more often, but also they will spawn more babies. If you've got the right setup and you provide your guppies with everything they need, then each female guppy will give birth to babies once a month. They're live bearers, so they won't lay eggs, they just give birth to live baby fish, and every time she gives birth it's to about 10 to 20 baby fish. Depending on how much you feed them, it's going to be more or less from my experience. So let's talk about taking care of the fry. What you can do is walk to the store and you'll find dedicated baby guppy food. It's pretty expensive, so what you can do is walk away and don't buy it. Because in all the years I've bred guppies, you don't need the dedicated guppy food. In the first couple of days and even up to a week, the baby guppies are perfectly able to find their own food in your tank. And when they get to a certain size, they'll just eat from what you're feeding the adult guppies. Once you've got fry, you don't need to remove the adults. From experience, the adults don't eat all their fry, so maybe they ate 1 or 2 of them, but generally the fry are great at finding hiding spots, and you don't have to worry because your population will grow. If you're really trying to maximize the amount of guppies you are raising, then it's smart to remove a pregnant female, put her in her own tank and feed her and take care of her until she gives birth. Then what you can do is put the adult female back, and you've got a tank with all the baby fry separate from your main tank. And now you can take proper care of them and raise them until they're big enough. But generally, if you keep them in a community tank, then the fry are perfectly able to find hiding spots and get away from their parents, and the parents don't eat all the fry. To make sure that you succeed, I've got a couple of tips for you. The first tip is, if you really want to maximize the amount of guppies you're raising, you need to increase your water changes. I've noticed that if you do more water changes, then the water quality is healthier or better, and guppies will give birth faster. Second tip, if I were you, I would definitely add Java moss to my aquarium. If you're not planning on removing pregnant females, which is not necessary, only if you really want all the fry to survive, then Java moss is a great way or a great place where guppy fry can find shelter, and it really increases the amount of fry that make it to their adult life. Third tip, when I was breeding guppies for profit, I was breeding my own live food. I had micro worms. Make sure you Google it, and if you can get your hands on your first sample of micro worms, you can start breeding them and you can feed your baby guppies. They're very tiny worms that even the smallest fry can eat, and I've had a lot of success of quickly raising my baby guppies to strong and healthy adult guppies. The fourth and final tip, if female guppies are pregnant and they give birth, they are still pregnant. And that's because the female fish can hold on to the man's sperm for up to 3 months. So that means that if she gets impregnated and she gives birth, and even though she may be removed from other male guppies, she's still pregnant. So it takes a long time in order for a guppy to not be pregnant anymore. And that's also why if you buy guppies in a store, most likely the female fish are already pregnant. Make sure to subscribe on my channel. I really invite you to subscribe. I've got a lot of more content ready, scheduled already and recorded on this channel. If you like the video, drop a like, and if you've got any questions, comment them down below and I'll make sure to answer them for you. Cheers.